On August 16, the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, put out a post titled 60 Seconds to Know What the Taliban Is on Weibo, a Chinese social media platform that operates like Facebook and Twitter combined. It garnered so much attention that it once ranked 5th on the Weibo hot search list.
塔利班这支派别高举铲除军阀、重建国家的旗帜，塔利班的实力急剧膨胀，逐渐发展成为阿富汗各派别中最强大的一支势力。1996年9月27号，塔利班武装攻占首都喀布尔，随后建立了阿富汗伊斯兰酋长国。2001年911事件是塔利班政权的一个转折点，美国随后发动了对阿富汗塔利班的军事打击。
这场持续了20年之久的阿富汗战争，不仅让阿富汗人民陷入水深火热的处境，更让美国总统不堪其扰，造成惊人的人员和财产损失。
However, this time, the comments left by the Chinese viewers have shown that their minds are not as easily influenced as the CCP would have liked. One viewer wrote, "I really don't understand who deprives women of their rights as human beings, who picks people up and beheads them in the street, who is a world-recognized terrorist organization, and who blew up the Bamiyan Buddhas." Another comment read, "No mention of fundamentalism. Trash media." There was also an audience member who imitated a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman by saying that the Chinese have always taken the position that they never interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. An even braver audience member wrote, "You are brave to endorse such an anti-human regime. Whitewashing the Taliban is the most inhumane thing you can do. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. What a foolish idea." This post on Weibo was put out against the backdrop of a rapidly changing situation in Afghanistan, where Taliban militants returned to power on August 16, stating that the war is over and declaring that they have taken complete control of Kabul. When the militants stormed the Afghan capital, President Ashraf Ghani fled the country with his core team. Criticism by a massive number of Chinese netizens suggests that this central-level media propaganda effort was too aggressive and ineffective. Subsequently, the post was removed entirely from the internet about 4 hours later. Dozens of countries, including the US, have issued joint statements urging the departure of all foreign and Afghan citizens who wish to evacuate. Several countries are stepping up the evacuation of their citizens from Afghanistan. Chinese and Russian embassies, on the other hand, are conducting business as usual.
中国驻阿富汗使馆仍在正常的运作，中国驻阿大使和使馆人员仍然在坚守岗位，履行职责。外长加尔诺发表联合声明，欢迎对。
Chinese companies have invested heavily in Afghanistan's mines and infrastructure over the past 20 years, and many Chinese citizens have entered Afghanistan to work and live. At a regular press conference held by the Chinese Foreign Ministry on August 16, a media reporter asked, "Does the Chinese government intend to recognize, or under what circumstances will it recognize, the Taliban government?"
中方在充分地尊重阿富汗国家主权。
China keeps in contact and communication with the Afghan Taliban on the basis of fully respecting Afghanistan's sovereignty and the will of all parties in the country, and has been playing a constructive role in seeking a political solution to the Afghan issue. The Afghan Taliban has expressed several times that they hope to develop a good relationship with China, expect China to participate in their rebuilding and development, and will never allow any forces to use Afghanistan's territory to harm China.
The Taliban's victory in Afghanistan is undoubtedly good news at a time when the CCP is struggling with deteriorating relations between China and the US and is being questioned globally about the origin of the COVID-19 virus. In just 8 days from August 7, the Afghan government, with more than 300,000 troops and advanced American equipment, lost to the Taliban, who are only about 70,000 strong and backwardly armed. The rapid change of the battlefield has shocked the world, and it brings up at least 3 questions. 1. How could the Taliban recapture total Afghan power in one fell swoop within a few days? 2. To some, the Taliban's counterattack seems to have made the U.S. military's hard work in Afghanistan over the past 20 years worthless. 3. It demonstrates that the battlefield is rapidly changing, and what determines the direction of the war is not just the might of the force, but is a combination of multiple factors. Major countries, such as the West, must handle many aspects properly, such as political, diplomatic, and military. The Taliban's swift victory may have greatly emboldened the CCP to attack Taiwan. An article in the New York Times says that the events in Afghanistan have dealt a blow to the image of the U.S. among its allies, leaving countries like Taiwan, Ukraine, and the Philippines with questions about how much they really want to rely on the U.S. Many analysts believe that the main reason for the rapid fall of the Afghan government to the Taliban is the internal problems within the Afghan government forces. They have long been dependent on the U.S. military, and their combat power is extremely low. Even though the U.S. military sent air support and even sent B-52 bombers, the Afghan government forces had no desire to resist on the ground and fled when they saw the Taliban. Perhaps, as a result of this incident, the Taiwan government or the Republic of China will realize more acutely that they cannot rely entirely on the US or other friendly forces. Taiwan needs to build a strong armed force of its own. The Wall Street Journal reported on August 12 that many people who fled to the capital Kabul and those in Taliban-controlled areas said they had witnessed Taliban violence. They have witnessed Taliban insurgents shooting civilians for no reason, the execution of captured Afghan soldiers, and incidents in which Taliban executives forced women to marry members of the group. AFP reported from Kabul on Saturday, August 14th, that the Taliban have ordered that in the rural areas they have occupied, all girls 13 years old must get married. Some girls have declared that they would rather die to stand against the Taliban's orders. For its part, the Taliban denied all allegations and said in a statement issued Sunday that Taliban forces would not bother any civilian or military officials of the former regime. Many Chinese people should not believe the Taliban's claims because the tactics used by the Taliban, including the use of rural encirclement of cities, promises followed by overthrow, and various acts of terror, are very similar to those of the CCP before and after seizing power in China. Several overseas media outlets have suggested that the CCP is already building momentum for recognizing the Taliban as a legitimate regime. As early as August 13, the Global Times, an affiliate of the official Chinese media People's Daily, published an interview with an Afghan opposition leader who said, "The transitional government must include the Taliban." Previously, on July 28, a Taliban delegation met with Foreign Minister Wang Yi during a two-day visit to China for talks on the so-called peace process and security issues in Afghanistan. A Taliban spokesman said the visit was conducted at the invitation of China and that the team was led by a key figure in the Taliban organization and its chief negotiator and deputy leader. The AP report commented that photos in the press release show Wang Yi posing for photos and sitting down for talks with Baradar and the Taliban delegation, which China treated like a diplomatic mission when the Taliban is desperately trying to gain legitimacy. Indeed, Beijing has been expecting to fill the vacuum left by the departure of the US and NATO forces. Now, for Beijing, getting a pro-communist Taliban government in Afghanistan would open the door to the Middle East, making it easier for China to interact with Iran and other countries and making it easier for Afghanistan to join the so-called One Belt One Road and become an important node for Chinese communist forces to move westward. On July 9, Taliban spokesman Suhail Shaheen, through the South China Morning Post, a state-owned media outlet, publicly expressed the attitude of leaning on the CCP, saying, "It is necessary to hold talks with China, the biggest investor in Afghanistan. We have been to China many times and have good relations with them. And, if they can come to invest, we will of course ensure their safety. Their security is very important to us." On whether or not the White House would consider doing the same as China by preparing to recognize the Taliban as a legitimate government, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken told CNN, "If the future Afghan government upholds the basic rights of the people and doesn't harbor terrorists, it's a government that we can work with and recognize." Blinken said, if conversely, the Taliban government doesn't do that, doesn't uphold the basic rights of the people, including women and girls, harbors terrorist groups that have the intent to attack the US or allies, of course, that's not going to happen, he said, referring to recognizing the Taliban. At the same time, the UN Security Council called for the establishment, through negotiations, of a new government in Afghanistan.
Together with Norway as the pen holders on Afghanistan, the Council has reached a press statement. It will be issued shortly. The main points of it are that we're calling for an immediate end to violence, restoration of security, civil and constitutional order. The Council will...
The Taliban's victory seems to be a shot in the arm that China so badly needs. The CCP's official media has now launched a powerful wave of propaganda, rolling out reports for days on end, trying to play up the chaos in Afghanistan, portraying the Taliban's behavior as peaceful and civilized, and focusing on criticism of US-style democracy. A recent commentary published by Xinhua news agency was entitled, "Cabal's Fall, Sounds to the Death Knell of the Decline of American Hegemony." The Chinese public is still immune to such propaganda, but it is difficult to determine how long this immunity will last amid a robust and ongoing brainwashing campaign. On Sunday, the Global Times quoted the director at the Center for Afghan Studies at Lanzhou University in China. The Taliban's power is expanding faster than expected. Many observers around the world previously expressed fears that Taliban military operations would cause a massive humanitarian crisis, but, in fact, so far, the Taliban have not fared too badly. There are some accusations against the Taliban, but we haven't seen conclusive evidence. Among the paths of cooperation with the Taliban that Beijing authorities are about to embark on, one focus is of concern to all sides, the Xinjiang issue. The Taliban's fundamentalist philosophy has brought the group's members closer to the followers of Islam in Xinjiang. Xinjiang shares a border with Afghanistan. So, with the Taliban in control of Afghanistan, does this threaten the stability of the Xinjiang region? The Taliban and the Chinese Communist Party share some common characteristics, such as being cunning and unafraid to tell lies. These common characteristics will cast a shadow over Beijing's future plans.
I live my country. The people is free. The people want to live like they want. But the Taliban is the only group to decide over the all people like the second God. Today was the last day, so we have it like free before in 20 years.